Okay. So, hi everyone. My name is FaZe, and I'm with Skillspire. I'm on the marketing team, and I just want to thank you all very much, first and foremost, for uh, coming out here and joining us on a Saturday morning or afternoon or night, I guess, depending on where you are, because I know we have some people joining in from overseas in the UAE, if I'm not mistaken, which is really awesome. So I want to say thank you very much for joining us. This is going to be a really exciting workshop for you guys as well as for us. We're going to be going over the tech industry and why we feel that it is the best industry. And what we mean when we say best industry um, isn't necessarily restricted or limited to one particular factor or component as far as appeal goes. It's really about the whole picture when you're talking about earning potential, work-life balance, job satisfaction, um, challenging and meaningful work. Um, in terms of the whole picture, this it's kind of why we feel that tech is the best industry. Now, we have a special guest here with us today, Raze, and he's going to, once I'm finished with my section, he's going to go through a really neat little technical section for you guys. But before I hand it off to him, I just want to hear from everyone here about a little bit about yourselves. Nothing too crazy. Typically when we start our workshops, we kind of go around the room and then just get each person's name. What kind of interested you about this workshop, why you kind of wanted to join. And so it just kind of gives us information and, allows us to kind of get a feel for what it is that we can help you with and if there's any questions that we can answer for you. So I'll let everyone start. I know there's a couple people here so far, so if you want to go ahead and just unmute yourself just for like a few seconds and just give a quick intro about yourself, and we can go forward with the workshop. Amna, do you want to go first?
Hi, Amna is here. I live in Seattle. I did the certification in cybersecurity recently from UW, and I'm looking for a job in my field. I'm very passionate, and I will pursue my career in my field, cybersecurity, because due to the because I have two kids, and I was staying. I'm a stay-home mom, and I was at home for almost 10 years, and now it's a time to go back in my professional life again after the long gap. And I'm more interested to know like why the tech is more important than the other, it's although my passion or my field, but I'm having a lot of troubles, struggle to get a hunt my dream job. So but that's why I'm interested to know like why tech is important.
Okay, awesome. So you said cybersecurity is kind of the field that you're most interested in. Is that correct?
Yes, I recently did the certificate in the field, and definitely I'll pursue my career in the same field. But
Okay.
once I'm coming back after a long gap, and it would be a first job in America for me, and that's why I really want to know like what's going on. I know about the current affairs, what's going on in the tech fields, and then how can I get in, and definitely why it's important.
Okay, yeah, awesome. So as the workshop goes on, if at any point you have any questions, feel free. You can uh, interrupt me and pause me and stop me, whatever, and ask as you wish. That's the whole point of the workshop. So I encourage you to ask as you wish. I believe I'm not mistaken. I think we connected on LinkedIn. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we did. So I
Yeah,
do
sure,
recognize. Yeah.
sure. Thank
So,
you.
but yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for joining us, Amna. It's a pleasure to have you here. Um, Anisha, would you like to join us? Quick introduction.
Hello, sir. I am Anisha and I'm from India. And currently, I am in Sharjah, UAE. I'm searching job over here for past 2 months. And recently, I have joined in Skillspire. That Here in IT industries, there were a lot of opportunities for techies. So I'm just eager to learn this opportunity. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah. So actually, Yasmin had told me about you. You're in the UAE, correct? So, yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here. I think you're doing full stack. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm doing full stack.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. It's a pleasure to have you here. And likewise, if you have any questions, feel free to stop me as you wish. So we have one more person. Jen Foskett, would you like to give a quick? We're just doing quick introductions around the room. Just like your name and what kind of interested you about this workshop and why you wanted to join us today. Just a quick introduction.
Sure, my name is Jen. I have done data analytics in the past and just kind of exploring Skillspire a little bit more to see what you guys offer. So
Cool. Awesome.
I work in the finance side of healthcare, so that's kind of where my expertise lies. So
Okay, cool. Yeah, Yasmin has noticed a lot that people in healthcare tend to gravitate a little bit towards data analytics. So that sounds about right. So yeah, if you have any questions as well throughout the workshop, excuse me, feel free to pause me and ask as you wish. We want to help you as much as we can. So it's a pleasure to have you here.
thank you so much.
Yep. Cool. So Raze, before I hand it off to you for your quick introduction as well, quick question: are you allowed to admit people into the lobby while I'm presenting? Do you have access to that?
Yes, it's popping up on the menu for me.
Cool. So if someone comes in and I'm not able to pull up my Teams, can you let them in for me?
Sure.
Cool, man. Cool. So I'm gonna let Raze guys introduce himself, and then we'll go forward to the workshop. Raze, take it away.
Hello, everybody. My name is Raze Williams, and today I will be giving you a brief overview of React.js.
Cool. Forward to it. Okay, guys. So just to give you some insight into what this workshop is going to look like, we've kind of broken it down into two separate sections. The first one is going to be like a high-level overview of the tech industry, kind of the jobs, the salaries, why we feel tech is such a great industry to get into, kind of giving you the nuts and bolts of the tech industry as a whole. And then after that, I'm gonna hand it off to Raze. And as he mentioned, he's going to, go through a really cool technical demonstration. You can follow along and just give you guys some insight into what that would look like if you were actually taking like a course with us. Just a quick little snippet right there. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into our presentation. And by the way, guys, feel free to type questions in the chat as we're going through. You can unmute your mic and ask as well. This is not meant to be like I'm going to speak for 30 minutes and then you can ask. You can ask throughout as you wish, as much as you want, right? So we want to answer your questions as best as we can. Okay, let's get right into it. Cool. So why tech is the best industry, right? So it's important that we tackle the question, why tech in the first place? So challenging, creative, and meaningful work. Anyone who gets into tech, I would say most people, the pathway is not very clear and straight right away. So you might have heard from people who have gotten into coding that there were a lot of days where they're just in front of the computer hammering away, debugging code. It's a constant like trial and error kind of process. I'm referring specifically to if you're doing like a web development or like a programming language here. So not necessarily with cybersecurity or data analytics, although that would be there to a certain extent. So for example, one of our instructors, Abshir, he was talking about in one of our last workshops that it was just so hard for him to learn how to code. And, he was like, literally, I think it was like, he said he was just at, at the lab, just like on the computer for like the entire day, like 10, 12 hours a day, just like trying to figure this out. He said, it didn't come easily to him at all. But, now I believe he's working at Microsoft. He's also doing some higher studies as well. So he's taught for us in the past, and it just really shows that you can make it happen, even if it's not like easy and simple at the start. It's absolutely possible. Variety of work. So there's so many different avenues and channels within tech. It's not like, oh, learn code and that's it. I mean, you have front end, back end, you have different languages and frameworks within each one. You have data analytics, data science, you have cybersecurity, you have UX design, which is something that we're looking to introduce in the near future, I think. We have one of our newest ones, which is actually mobile app development. That's really popular as well. So there's so many different ways to kind of challenge yourself and broaden your skill set. It's not like, you just have to learn HTML or JavaScript and then that's your only option. There's like, the software engineering side, software development. There's the variety is insane. So that's why, at Skillspire, we have several courses, and also like we encourage you to like go out and like, experiment around and play around and take different, free courses, and go to free code camp and go to YouTube and watch different videos and see, where your path kind of lies. It's a global industry, right? So one of our participants here in the workshop mentioned that she's from the UAE, and the tech industry here obviously is very hot, but it's not limited to here. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Canada, it's picking up as well. You have places around the globe. One of our former or current instructors, I guess, he hasn't been teaching lately, but one of our recent instructors, Daniel, he actually lives in Saudi Arabia, but he works remotely for a company here. So even if you are working for a US company, you have opportunities now where you can actually work remotely from across the globe, which is really cool. High demand, high pay, of course. I'm sure all of you have heard how the tech industry can really pay out, even from out of the gate, as like a starting salary, right? Anyone can learn potentially. So the reason I say potentially is because it's really going to come down to you. We don't sugarcoat things and say that learning coding is like a cakewalk and that anyone can do it like overnight, and that for example, our courses are 12 to 20 weeks, but we never ever will tell you that in 12 to 20 weeks you're guaranteed to learn this skill or these skills. That's not at all the case. Our students who do really well, they take a lot of initiative. They're working outside of class, right? They're struggling and grinding day and night outside of work. They're putting in a lot of effort. So we'll give you all the tools that you need to succeed, but ultimately it is going to come down to you, how well you pay attention in class, do the labs, the homework, the assignments, and work outside of class on your own to really master everything, all the concepts and all the material. Work-life balance. So with so many opportunities in the tech industry, I'm not saying that every company and every job offers you great work-life balance, because I'm sure you've heard of certain tech companies overworking the employees and people just not getting breaks and just working constantly, which is certainly the case. But you can make that case for any sort of industry to an extent, right? What I mean to say with work-life balance is that there are certainly companies and positions within the vast tech market that do offer you great work-life balance. I know someone personally right now who has 2 children, and for the last couple of years, I think he's been working a few different jobs, and he said that my job is like the flexibility in terms of how I can take care of my kids and manage my time throughout the day. Like I'm not like restricted and constrained. It's for him, it's like, yeah, as long as I do the work, they don't really care as much, right? And he's been saying that the pay is good. So certainly, work-life balance is absolutely an achievable target in the tech industry. And it kind of ties into the next point, which is plenty of remote work opportunities. So with COVID, COVID sort of accelerated the remote work timeline. We're now in a spot where everyone is kind of, remote work is almost like an expectation, right? A lot of people don't want to go back into the office. And so tech is certainly ripe with plenty of remote work opportunities. Excuse me, I'm just going to move this real quick. So lots of freelance and entrepreneurial pathways. So if you don't want to get a job, there's plenty of opportunities to do your own thing as well. If you want to develop an application, build a website, if you want to build websites for other people, build a software, you have lots of different types of options. College degrees are not the end-all be-all, as is the case in other industries. So depending on which industry you get into, for example, we have instructors at Skillspire. Daniel, who I mentioned a few minutes back, he actually did not go to university. He learned, he went through coding bootcamp, he learned, and then he went straight into a job. I believe out of high school, he skipped college and just went straight out of high school to a boot camp and then went into a job. I know one of my family members personally who also, he kind of did a self-taught method. He didn't go to boot camp. He kind of taught himself, developed the skills, and then started applying for jobs, got a job. And then after he got the first job, it just kind of snowballed from there. And he didn't really look back. The lack of a college degree did not really have any effect on him. So you can certainly make it happen with that one. I know cybersecurity is probably the one where a lot of people, certifications are huge in cybersecurity as well. So, I'm not here saying that college degrees are worthless or useless or that they don't carry any merit whatsoever. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that they aren't the absolute means to a job. You can absolutely work around not having a degree if that's you. That's really the message I'm trying to get across. Cool. So tech pays, right? This obviously varies based on a lot of factors, and here are some of them: experience, skills, the specific job, degree, certifications, geography, and then where you work. So obviously with experience and skills, if it's your first job in tech, for example, right out of the gate, recently with Skillspire, what we've done is we partnered up with a company to provide our students with guaranteed internships for all of our courses except for cybersecurity. And that's mainly because the company does not have the cybersecurity is not one of the sort of subjects or courses where it feeds in appropriately into the company for its position, basically. But if you're doing web development, data analytics, app development, you basically have a guaranteed internship with Skillspire through that with that company through Skillspire. And so I mentioned that because if you're right out of the gate, right after taking a course or studying by yourself, don't set the expectations too high. You obviously want to get what you can get. Don't kind of reduce yourself, but at the same time, be realistic. There's nothing wrong with getting an unpaid internship at the start, building those skills and that experience, putting that on your resume, and then working up the ladder from there. There's nothing wrong with going from unpaid internship to paid internship to apprenticeship to 50K, to 75K, to 100K. And once you kind of accrue all this experience and you climb up the ladder, so to speak, it can really kind of snowball from there. So it depends on the specific job as well. Obviously, certain within tech, there's, like I said, there's so many different channels and categories. So it's going to depend on which channel and category, and as well as, your title of the company, right? Degrees and certifications. So, what you can attach to your name as far as the paper. But as I mentioned in the last slide, I don't personally believe that the degree is the end all be all. We've seen that time and time again with a lot of our students, and certifications can be absolutely valuable as well. Geography. So obviously, if you're on the West Coast working for a big tech company, it's certainly not uncommon to make multiple six figures. I think one of my friends recently was telling me that he knows someone doing 1.5 million. I forgot his exact title, But I believe it was West Coast company. I think one of our instructors, Farhad, who teaches Java, he was telling me a few months back that there's some engineers at Facebook, LB engineers, who make like $3 million a year. So depending on the geography, that can have a huge impact on your earning potential, scaling potential. And so where you work, what I mean by where as opposed to geography is the company. So, depending on which company you work at, you might be able to scale up really, really high. Generally speaking, most mid-tier tech fields have jobs that pay 100K plus in salary, especially true for large companies. So 6 figures, which is the target that a lot of people set, is absolutely achievable in tech. It's probably the industry, in our opinion, that is the easiest in the sense, not from the standpoint of like learning the skills, but from the standpoint of the amount of available jobs that pay that much money, right? There's just so many options and so many companies and so many positions. The demand is just so high. And that's actually escalated in recent times with a lot of the big tech companies. I think Amazon recently really bumped up their base pay like crazy. So companies are hiring, and tech is especially true in that case. Starting salary may be lower at the start, but can increase quickly. I think I touched on this. So, if you're starting out at like 60, 70K, which is still like a lot of money, guys, right? Like don't get at all like discouraged. Like you can absolutely ramp up from there. And that getting that first kind of foot in the door is huge. Because once you have that, I mean, the path is just set open for you as long as you continue to kind of grind and put in the work. So, yeah. Cool. So there's so many options in terms of jobs, right? So you have front end, back end, software, engineering developer, data analyst, data scientist, Java, .NET, app developer, information security analyst, cybersecurity analyst, and so many more. This is really just kind of touching the surface. You have like higher up management positions. You have like junior developers. Obviously I mentioned entrepreneurial opportunities. So, depending on which kind of channel you want to go into within tech, it's really just open to you as far as like what you want to pursue. Personally, I like the idea of starting with the end goal in mind. So figure out what is the job I want to get in the end and work backwards from there. So figure out, okay, what is the step that leads to that job, and then work backwards. And what will happen is you'll eventually get to the first step you need to take, which is, okay, what skills do I need to learn so that ultimately my last step is the job that I want to get, right? So I think that's hugely important. Okay, so how can Skillspire help you? So we have a syllabus and structure, set in place that allows for faster learning than self-teaching. Because you'll be learning from industry experts who are currently working in the industry, you won't have any concern over, is this information outdated, or is it out of place, or am I learning from someone who's incompetent? That won't be the case at all, right? Faster and more affordable track into a new career. So because we have our structure set in place, and you'll be going on our timeline as opposed to your own timeline if you were to do self-study, which people can do. But a lot of times the issue is with self-study, many people don't have the discipline to hold themselves accountable. So if you're doing it on your own, you don't have really that mentor figure to kind of guide you and like tell you every single step of the way. So that's where our mentorship and guidance really comes in. And of course, we are significantly more affordable than a lot of the other schools and boot camps if you look around. I touched on this. Instructors or industry professionals trained to teach and passionate about their work. We've had a lot of students who've raved about our instructors, and I'm not just saying that, but if you meet our instructors, I mean, they're just absolutely amazing in terms of what they've done in their careers, as well as them taking the step to pivot into teaching other people. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. certification matters when you don't have experience. So, getting that certificate from Skillspire or another coding bootcamp, saying that, I have a certificate in full stack web development. That can be quite important when you're getting that first foot in the door. So if you're coming in green without anything except for like projects, that can help you out a little bit. Part-time evening and weekend classes to suit any schedule. So, Skillspire, it was formed with the mission to help underrepresented communities, helping women, minorities, immigrants break into tech. And so one of the core fundamentals involved in that is that the CEO, Yasmin Ali, who I think some of you probably know, she did not want people to have to quit their full-time jobs. Our target population, quitting their full-time job is not feasible. If you have a family, you're taking care of kids, putting your life on pause for like several weeks or months and just learning to code, the practicality of that is, it's difficult for a lot of people. And so, our students work full time and go through the course. It is going to be a grind, but we've made that possible. So you won't have to worry about, how am I going to, provide for my family while I'm going through the course. You can absolutely do that. And then building your network. So you have fellow students, you have mentors, teachers, instructors, you have Terry Polly, who is our career development person who, helps people with basically recruitment and job searching and resumes and LinkedIn profiles. And she's done an absolutely amazing job. So you're getting access to like this huge network of people who not only want to see you succeed, but who have helped other people succeed and who like can absolutely put you in the right places to succeed. So a network can be huge, especially when you don't know which steps to take. Like it's one thing learning HTML in your basement, but what do you do after that point? What's the next step, right? So having those mentors in place to like ask, and you can always ask us and be like, hey, like, what's the next step? Like, what do I do? That's huge. So in terms of our courses, several options. So we have web development, full stack, intro to DA, advanced DA, Java and cloud computing, C# and Azure cloud, cybersecurity, and then our newest one, which is mobile app development. So for web development, we have 2 stacks that we focus on. So depending on which one you choose, you'll focus on either React or Python. And full stack web development, for if anyone is unclear, what that refers to is focusing on both the front and back ends of web development, as opposed to just focusing on one or the other. Intro to DA. So a lot of people, they kind of connect, they bridge these 2 courses together, intro to DA and advanced DA. Basically in the intro course, you'll be going through things like advanced Excel concepts, SQL, Power BI. And then in the advanced one, you'd be going more into Python, machine learning, AI. More of the data science side, I guess I would say. Java and cloud computing. So this one, and then the C# and Azure cloud. For those who are kind of interested more in the back end, getting into software engineering, these would be like your kind of go-tos. These are the longest courses that we have. These are each 20 weeks long. And you're really getting like an all-in Java and C# masterclass with the cloud computing component as well. If it's Java, you're going to do Amazon Web Services, and if it's C#, you're going to do Azure Cloud. Cybersecurity. This is one of our newest courses, we have a couple of new instructors who've done an amazing job. We just wrapped up our first cybersecurity cohort. We had some students who absolutely love the course, we have an instructor, John, who's done a fantastic job for us, and he's just now, I believe, started his second cybersecurity cohort, and this is also another really popular one. Mobile app development. So if you've heard of programming languages like Swift for iOS or Kotlin for Android, mobile app development is huge, and this is one that we're rolling out starting May 14th. So that's our absolute very first cohort, and we're very excited to have that roll out because it's very popular. Okay, so now is a very good question. Which course would be best for me? Before I get into this, I just want to pause for a second. Does anyone have any questions about anything we've gone over so far? Feel free to interrupt me. Okay, cool. So personality, what do you enjoy doing? You know, a lot of people come and say, I want to get into tech, but I don't want to learn how to code. Um, you know, and Yasmin usually in those situations, she kind of points them towards data analytics as a suitable option. Um, you know, you kind of have to figure out where your path kind of lies. That's why it's important to like, don't be afraid to spend the time to experiment, to take free courses, to watch videos, to do tutorials online. Um, that's paramount. That's going to be huge in terms of helping you decide what you really want to do. Skills and experience. So, what prior knowledge and experience and skills do you come with to the table, right? So, I mentioned to one of our, I think it was Jen. I mentioned that, um, you know, a lot of people in healthcare tend to gravitate towards data analytics, which is absolutely true. You know, people with, you know, people who are have like a design background, they might be more suited for like the front end of web development as opposed to the back end. They might prefer UX design. You know, people with a math background might like the data science aspect, right? So, or the software engineering side. So, depending on what you come with beforehand, certain courses might actually be better for you, or might be easier for you to kind of grasp the concepts than other courses, right? And I mentioned this already. Try a couple of free classes online. Don't be afraid, you know, to go to free code camp. .org or Codecademy or YouTube and learn. That's absolutely essential, if you ask me, to really kind of get your foot in the door and um, commit yourself. You know, set your like when you set out to take free courses online. You also don't want to kind of throw in the towel too easily. You want to see it through to the end. If you say, "Okay, I want to learn HTML," you know, go in and actually give your absolute hardest effort to learn HTML, even if it's not easy. It'll be huge in helping you figure out like, okay, is this what I want to do? Do I want to pivot? Do I want to do something else? So take free classes online and give it your all, and see like where like what kind of path that sets you down. I mentioned this before as well. Certifications matter when you don't have experience. So obviously, if you're coming in completely green, as I mentioned, having that paper can certainly help as long as you have the projects to back it up. And then look at job boards, LinkedIn, for example. Junior software developers, junior technical project manager, analyst, data, marketing, supply chain, etc. And that can help you as well. Okay, so this is a topic that everyone likes to talk about, which is coding bootcamps versus universities, right? So we're not here. I just want to preface this and say that we're not here to tell you that one is better than the other, or that university is not worth your time, or that a degree is worthless. We're not here to say any of that. We want to take an objective approach and look at it purely from like a circumstantial perspective, a contextual perspective, and help you figure out for you personally which one would be better, right? So universities can be extremely expensive, right? If you're coming in with a full year degree and everything is paid for, like why not? Why not go to university? I mean, it's basically free, so it actually makes more sense in that case to go to university because if you're going to a boot camp and spending thousands of dollars, a boot camp would be less economically, kind of make less economic sense than a university, right? But for most people, that's not the case. And if you're taking a break mid-career, you're probably not coming in with a full scholarship. And unless your company can pay for your degree, you're talking about potentially, in most cases, tens of thousands of dollars, right? And if you go out of state or you're living on campus, it only adds to that as well. So universities also require you to take courses you don't need. So this is also as well where a lot of sometimes the money goes where you don't want it to go. Like you're taking chemistry, biology, English, PE, And each of these courses is going to cost you like thousands of dollars. So for you to take these courses, not only from a financial perspective, but also from a time perspective, like you're putting in time to take history and geography, right? And I'm not saying those subjects are not useful in your life, but what I am saying is that in terms of helping you get to where you want to get in terms of your tech career, I think it's pretty safe to say that studying history and geography, spending thousands of dollars and a whole semester, several hours on it, is probably not the best use of your time and money, right? Many people can't afford to wait 4 years. So another downside of you having to take a lot of classes that don't necessarily put you in the direction of tech is that it delays your waiting period for graduation and then ultimately looking for a job, which is where you really want to get to. 4 years is a long time. If you're mid-career, taking care of a family, most people, for those people, waiting 4 years is really, that's a difficult ask, right? We remove almost all of the theoretical knowledge and focus on technical concepts. So this is another really important thing to mention, that if you go to university, there's going to be a lot of theory, a lot of high-level knowledge that you're going to get, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But our focus is really on expediting the process and getting you from beginner to tech professional as quickly as possible. So anything that's not absolutely essential to that path and that process, we kind of remove, so that we basically kind of pave the path of least resistance, quote unquote. And that's how, our timeline is accelerated, right? And then we help you with training, resume building, LinkedIn, technical interview prep, and job search. So some universities actually do a decent job with some of this stuff. For example, I went to UT Dallas, and I did not study tech, but in the business school, they had a great career services program, and they helped out with resume, LinkedIn. They had a lot of career fairs and opportunities to connect with employers. But that's not all universities, and it's not a guarantee that you're going to get that. And once you graduate, you may not get as much attention. Whereas with us, once you graduate, that's literally when it kicks into high drive. Is when, okay, we need to help, so and so, get into a career. So that's where you'll link up with our career development team, and you'll get that mentorship. You'll be able to ask questions. We'll help you optimize your resume, your LinkedIn profile, and then ultimately, of course, getting to that first job. So I want to touch a little bit on us versus the competition. So significantly more affordable. Our courses range anywhere from about $3,000 to $7,000, if I'm not mistaken. And if you look around at competition, you'll see, some boot camps, a lot of them upwards of 10,000, some even approaching close to 20,000, if I'm not mistaken. And we offer you a lot of flexible payment plans and options as well. So we have different discounts, scholarships. We're approved to accept GI Bill benefits if we have any veterans here. We have monthly payment plans. Yasmin really, with the mission to help underrepresented populations get into tech, one of her biggest things was to make it financially feasible for people. So she really bends over backwards to figure out a plan. So even if, you're sitting here and you're thinking like, I may not be able to afford this, we highly encourage you to just talk to us. At the very least, we can do our best to figure out a plan that works for us as well as for you, most importantly, right? So don't be afraid to talk to us in that case, because we've made it work with a lot of students in the past who had significant financial barriers, and we were able to make it work with creative financial structures, right? We don't engage in interest or anything like that. So our goal is not to put our students in debt and have them pay us for years on end after they're hired. It's really to create a plan that works for you and doesn't handcuff you and shackle you after graduation, right? Mentorship and community. So one of the cool things that I kind of like to highlight on is that, Yasmin, our CEO, she's, if I'm not mistaken, she's literally spoken to every single Skillspire student on a personal level. So she literally knows every single student. I'm going through the marketing tasks, and I'm mentioning different student names, and she knows she recognizes every single one, and she knows their story, their background, their education history, where they live. I mean, it's pretty amazing. She knows so many. She knows it's almost like she's well acquainted with every single one. um, and that community that you get with us, like not just in terms of knowing Yasmin, but in terms of like the instructors, the teacher assistants, your fellow students, our career development team, Terry, um, like the amount of like personal one-on-one mentorship you get, the holistic community is really something I feel personally that is unique to us. You know, a lot of, you know, if another coding bootcamp was here, I'm sure they would disagree, which they're welcome to do. I just don't feel that they offer that same sort of personal sort of community feel that we are able to. And then another thing that kind of ties into what I just said, you don't get massive classroom sizes. So, you know, you won't get like massive classroom sizes of like 30, 40 people where each person barely gets any individual attention. So our goal is to keep it smaller, you know, 5 to 15 people. And this way, what our instructors can do is each individual student gets more attention, which is huge. And then mission focused. So I touched on this as well, serving underserved populations. And our goal is to help people from all backgrounds. So it's really quite amazing if you look at Skillspire students. You know, we have veterans, we have people, refugees, immigrants, people who came in who could barely speak English, people who, you know, we have a lot of people who studied here, studied abroad. You literally have like the entire sort of scope of different types of people from all different types of backgrounds, different ages, who studied with us. So it's really kind of it's an honor, I feel, because it's not simply about, you know, helping people in terms of making more money. It's about kind of fostering the community, like I mentioned, helping different types of people, and making it easy for them, regardless of their circumstance, regardless of their background. I mean, the types of backgrounds we've had, I mean, it's just really amazing. So I think mission is really important for us. So I touched on this earlier, but one common thing people might say is that they can't afford to quit their job. And like I said, this is designed for the working full-time professional. Because it's part-time, because weekday evenings and weekend classes, it won't interfere with work. And now, if you're working full-time, taking the course, it's going to be a grind. I'm not going to lie to you. Like balancing this with that, even though they won't overlap in terms of time, you're going to have to put in the work in the course as well as outside of the course, where you're going to have to study the concepts and do the homework assignments, lab assignments, projects. It's not going to be easy, but you can certainly do it. And we've had several people, you know, go through their full-time job while taking the course on the side. If you miss class, you can catch up on recorded lectures using the recorded lectures. So all of our classroom sessions are held live on Microsoft Teams. So we do this because we don't want to give you pre-recorded videos and just kind of leave you off to yourself and say, okay, learn this and then come back to us. That's not our goal. Our instructor sits down with the students live during the class times, goes through the lessons, the material, and this allows you to do a lot of things. Number one, you can interact with your instructors, with your classmates. Number two, you can ask questions live. You don't have to, you know, wait to email someone outside of class. They're literally right in front of you, so you can interact with them. Number three, it gives you that in-person feel, that classroom feel that so many people really, what we found is they need that. With COVID, you know, one of the biggest things has been a lot of people have been coming and saying that, you know, I want to take the course, but, you know, I don't like online instruction as much. I prefer in-person. And so what we feel is we've really kind of bridged that gap and created like the perfect kind of marriage where you can avoid the commute, and, you know, keep everyone healthy and safe while also getting that in-person feel. So you're getting that live interaction, that, you know, interaction with your classmates, your instructors, and if you do miss a class, all sessions are recorded. So you can always, you know, let's say you're busy with work one day, or on Saturday you're out with your family, you know, the session's recorded. So just come back the next day and watch the class that you missed. Need help outside of class? You can always reach out to your instructor outside of class. Reach out to your instructor, your teacher assistant, and get help from them as well. So if you don't get everything that you need inside the class, reach out outside, and we'll be willing to help you out. Okay, so how do you know if tech is for you? I think I've mentioned this a few times already, but you want to test the waters with free courses, YouTube videos, etc. So don't be afraid, guys. I know I've said this a lot, but really, like, just don't be afraid to go online and just be kind of, be curious, explore, take different free courses, and don't kind of dip your foot into one course and then another course and another course without actually seeing each one through. Like, if you're going to commit to a free course, like, see it through to its completion, finish it, understand everything properly, and then do another course, right? So when I say test the waters with free courses, I don't mean like take 10 free courses at one time and just kind of dilly-dally and barely kind of hone in on each one. What I mean is, like, complete a free course, kind of let it marinate, soak it all in, okay? Then take another one, then another one, and then YouTube videos, and then explore online. And, it'll help you figure out a few things, like whether tech is for you, number one, but also which field you like. Do you prefer front end, back end, data science, data analytics? What do you prefer, right? And this, again, is huge. Persistence and curiosity are key. This is not going to come easily, right? For some people, maybe it will. But for, I would say, most people, the path is not easy, and it's not meant to be easy, because the easy path doesn't weed out people who aren't deserving of the end goal, right? So if you want to earn that end goal of landing the lucrative tech career, wherever it is, in terms of geographically or whichever company, persistence is huge. It's not going to come overnight. It's not going to kind of magically fall in your lap. You're going to have to work for it, and we don't sugarcoat that with students. We don't guarantee them anything. All we guarantee you is that we'll do everything we can do to help you. And the rest is up to you, your persistence, your dedication, your craft, and how hard you're going to work and sweat. You'll never know for sure unless you try. So, like, even if you're just merely curious, it doesn't hurt to just try, right? The most you're going to lose out on is time. And, I mean, you need to kind of explore to figure out in the first place, right? Otherwise, you're just going to be left wondering, kind of doing analysis paralysis, thinking, man, like, I want to get into tech. Everyone's getting into tech. The salaries are great. You have all these perks. But unless you actually dip your foot in the water and go all in, you're kind of just talking the talk instead of walking the walk. If your curiosity has been piqued, contact us to learn more. So like I said before, don't be afraid to have a discussion with us, right? So, like, our goal is not to just get on a call with you and then push the course. Yasmin loves to talk with potential students. Just have a discussion with them, figure out their background, learn about them. Like, what is it that they think that they want to do? Give actionable recommendations and suggestions, right? It's not a sales call. I can guarantee you that it's not a sales call. It's really more like a mentorship call. We'll do everything we can to kind of guide you in the right direction, give you the steps that you need. So, like I said, reach out to us, give us a call, book a call with us, and I'm sure you'll be happy with the actionable steps and guidelines that we can actually provide for you. And then this is huge, guys. Investment in learning is never a mistake. So even if you take a free course and at the end you decide this is not what you want to do, you learn a new skill. And that's huge, because even if you don't want to get into that field, that skill is now something you can put on your resume. You have diversity in terms of the portfolio of skills that you have, and you figured out that, okay, this is not what I want to do. So the only way, people say knowledge is power. Knowledge is incredibly important in terms of, using your knowledge to further your career, but also in terms of using your knowledge to, widen your scope and not be super constrained and one-dimensional in your sort of your skill set, right? So before we get to our Q&A, I want to thank you all for listening. Razé is going to do our technical demonstration right now. But before I hand it off to him, I just want to say, does anyone have any quick questions before we get into the real Q&A at the end? Does anyone have any quick questions about anything I went over or otherwise that we can touch on right now before we give it to Razé for the technical part? Anything at all, feel free to ask away.
Did you receive my message, Phase?
Let me check it out. Yeah, absolutely, Rosé. That's completely fine.
Okay, great.
Cool. So if no one has any questions, I'm giving it off to Rosé. Take it away, Rosé.
Okay, great. Into the exciting stuff. Can we see my screen?
Let's see. Yes, I can see your screen.
It's displaying the intro to React, correct?
Correct. Intro to React.js with Rosé. That's what I see.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about React.js, and I specifically chose this topic because React.js is just one of the hottest technologies out there right now, and coming into these boot camps, that's pretty much your main goal, right? Get paid as soon as possible and learn as much as you can. And with React.js, that's pretty much what you're going to be able to do. It's so simple, it's so dynamic that a lot of jobs are looking for React developers right now, and this is exactly where you want to be. So React.js was created by the developers over at Facebook, and everybody has Facebook, everybody knows Facebook. So they created this library, and it's been fantastic. Everybody's jumping on it, and everybody's using it for their projects, especially on the enterprise level. So JavaScript is a library for building complex user interfaces. And when I mean complex as, say you jump on your favorite app, which may be Netflix, and you're seeing things that are constantly updating and changing as you're scrolling through. That's thanks to certain components within the React library that allow certain data to be manipulated as you're scrolling through, utilizing useState and useEffect methods within React. So a lot of the reasons we use React today are for fast scalability and the simplicity of it. React allows developers to create large web applications that can change data without reloading the page. And you see examples of that on such websites as Airbnb, Instagram, and Netflix. So with that being said, there goes my brief overview, and thank you for coming out. Faze?
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Rosé. So yeah, if you guys aren't already familiar with React, React is the main framework that we cover in our full stack web development MERN course. And so if you'll be taking that one, that's you'll be learning. Of course, you'll be going all into React during that course. So thanks a lot, Rosé. And I will take it from here, guys. In terms of any questions that you guys have, we really want to help you out and answer anything that you have. Don't be afraid to ask away. Our Q&A at the end is really the part where it's geared to help out you guys. So any questions that you have, whether it's about the course, the industry, how we can help you, ask away. This is like the floor is literally yours. So I encourage you, please ask away. You can either ask in the chat or you can unmute your mic. Either way is fine. Okay, so it looks like someone is typing. my chance. Okay. You can feel free to type it out, guys, or you know, you can unmute as well and ask away. Either way is fine. So someone is typing in the chat. That's why I'm just waiting for them to see what they have to say. Okay, so Anisha is asking, I'm in the UAE. Timings differ from the US. In morning would be fine, but in night times it would be difficult to attend. Can I get recorded classes? So yes, you can absolutely get recorded classes. So with, I believe, if you're taking the full stack, if I'm not mistaken, you'd have class Monday through Thursday and then Saturday. So the Monday class, so the Monday through Thursday, sorry, those start, I believe, at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, US. So that, I believe, UAE is 10 hours ahead, if I'm not mistaken. So that would be about 5 a.m. or so. I could be wrong on that. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but it could be very early morning. I'm not sure if that's too early for you or if that works. So that should be fine. If assuming that that early morning time is okay with you. But the Saturday one, so that would be new. I believe starts at 9 or 11 a.m. Central Time. So that would be 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. Sorry, UAE time. So that would be a problem. Sounds like you're saying. And so you can absolutely get recorded classes. We don't really recommend that you go only off the recorded classes. We do recommend that you attend the live stream classroom sessions as often as you can, because you get that kind of classroom in-person feel that you can't really get otherwise. But as a last resort, you can absolutely get the recorded classes. So I hope that answers your question. And if you can do the really early mornings, I think you should be able to attend the weekdays at least. Let me know if that answers your question. Cool. Any other questions from anyone? Okay, guys, if no one has any questions, that pretty much wraps it up as far as what we have. Um, as I'm speaking now, feel free to ask away or type away as you please. But I just want to thank you all very much for joining us on this Saturday morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are. And I hope that we were able to help you out and give you a good kind of pathway, a good some guidance as to how you can get into tech. And I hope that we were able to kind of show you why tech is such a great industry to get into. If you have any questions, guys, I'm going to. So I'm going to drop a link in the chat for if you want to book a free call with Yasmin. Like I said, this is not a sales call. This is really just to help you guys out and give you some guidance and just have a conversation with you so that you can, help you basically get down the right path to getting into tech. So if you guys don't have any other questions, like I said, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Razé, for coming out on Saturday, for giving us your presentation. And I'm going to enter my email into the chat as well. Feel free to reach out to me via email if you have any questions.
Do you have a couple minutes after this?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool.
But yeah, thanks a lot, guys. The workshop was recorded, so we can send out the recording afterwards as well. So really appreciate you guys coming out. Have an amazing weekend, and feel free to reach out if there's anything we didn't cover. But other than that, guys, have an amazing weekend, and I wish you the best of luck in your tech journey.